Hi, welcome to Temperature Conversions. Today you're going to learn how to convert between the three temperature scales, which are Fahrenheit, Celsius, and Kelvin. Fahrenheit is probably the one that you're used to. Kelvin, probably not so much. But these are the equations that you're going to use. They are also listed on the worksheet that you're going to use, and they're on the PowerPoint from Chapter 2. So the first equation you use if you want to change to Fahrenheit, the second one you use if you want to change to Celsius, and the third one you use if you want to change to Kelvin. Kelvin is called the absolute temperature scale because you should never get an answer that's less than 0. At 0 Kelvin, nothing moves. So what I'm going to do is a couple of examples for you, and then you can go and do the worksheet yourself. So in the first one, if you have 72 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty much room temperature, and we want to change that to Celsius. So you have to choose the correct equation first. The second equation is for changing to Celsius. So we're going to take that equation. It says 5/9 times the difference between the Fahrenheit temperature and 32. So all you have to do, write down the equation that you're going to use. That way, if you just use the math incorrectly, I can still give you partial credit. So 5/9 times 72 degrees Fahrenheit, that's where you're going to put the number that you're given, minus 32. You have to do that part first because it's in parentheses. It's just like math class. And of course you get 40. Then you take 40 times 5 and divide it by 9. And you'll get 22 degrees Celsius. And that's how you change from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Now if you want to change from Celsius to Fahrenheit, you're going to have to use a different equation. I made this one slightly more difficult by putting a negative temperature. You can have negative temperatures for Fahrenheit and Celsius, but you can't for Kelvin. But I want to change to Fahrenheit, so I'm going to use the first equation, which is the one that you use to change from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So write the original equation down first, and then put the numbers in. So you're going to have 9/5 times the Celsius temperature that you've been given. Don't forget that that's a negative, so it's going to be negative 12 degrees Celsius plus 32. So you're going to do this part first, and then you're going to add it to the 32. So take 9 times a negative 12 and divide that by 5, and then add the 32. And you'll get 10.4. So this is going to be 10.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Fairly cold. And now I think we need to move the camera a little bit. It's my assistant. So that we can use, and we can change to Kelvin. So in order to use the Kelvin temperature scale, Kelvin, notice there's no degree symbol. If there isn't one for Kelvin, they're called increments. You're going to take the Celsius temperature and you're always going to add 273.15. So you have to have a Celsius temperature. So the hardest problem that you could possibly have is if you have a Fahrenheit temperature and you want to change it to Kelvin. So let's say average body temperature, 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, and we want to know what that is in Kelvin. Well, we can't go from Fahrenheit to Kelvin. We're going to have to change it to Celsius first and then add our answer to 273.15. So I'm going to take the Celsius, that's equal to 5/9 times the Fahrenheit temperature minus 32. That's what I'm going to use first. So 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I subtract 32, and then I multiply by 5, divide by 9, and I'm going to get 37 degrees Celsius. And if all I wanted to do was to change to Celsius, that would be fine, but I want to change to Kelvin. So to get a Kelvin temperature, I simply take and add the 37 plus 273.15. And I get 310. And you just put a Kelvin, there's no degree symbol afterward. So that's how you do temperature changes.